So, anything you would like to share with our viewers? What do you think is important for them to know about you?
For me, like, the most important things for me is that I have a passion for people, like, above all things. Like, I think I'm most passionate about people and seeing people's lives improved in some meaningful way. Like, that's what I wake up every morning and aim to do, is if I'm not impacting people, then I'm not happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I strive to find a pain point in someone's life, and if I can impact it and if I can change it in some way, then let's do it, man. Like, whatever it takes, let's go, right? Um, I think, our main focus as humans should be each other.
Yeah.
We strive for so many things, and so many people are like self-centered and strive to improve their own lives.
Mhm.
Um, no, man, like that's not what we're put here for.
Yeah.
Like, we are put here to impact other people's lives and change other people's lives. And if you're not doing that, then you're doing a disservice to society in my mind.
I think that's interesting because I've I've been thinking lots about this sense of purpose in men. The idea that I think we're meant to serve. And I don't
Yeah.
say that. I know you and I come from like a very church background.
Yeah.
We grew up in the church, and that was kind of like ingrained in us early on. Some of that we've neglected self in some of that. But the more I come back to being well and with myself, I do believe the purpose of humans, especially men, is to serve others. And I think we've lost
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right, and I've done a lot of thinking of that as well, like, what is my purpose? What am I put here for? I don't think that, and that's probably, Rudy, man, like, that's probably the thing that consumes me the most is making an impact. Like, we are given so limited time, like, such limited time here on in this life, and we have no idea how limited it is, right? And I'm a person. I've experienced quite a bit of loss in my life, and some of that has been young. My mother was killed when she was 27. I was 2 and my brother was 6. So I mean, she had her life, no doubt she had her life planned out, and thought that, she was gonna live this full happy life with 2 kids and a family and raise them and whatever, and it was in an accident, in a motor vehicle accident. So I mean, it was totally unexpected. Like, literally, here one minute and gone the next, right? And not expecting it. Sometimes, like, if a person passes away, like, if it's a long drawn out illness, they call it the long goodbye, right? Like, my grandmother was the same way. Like, she had many months where we were just basically saying goodbye. Like, we knew
Yeah.
she wasn't gonna live much longer. Um, and after mom died, I mean, being raised by my grandparents, I grew up with this sense that, okay, they're not going to be here forever. Obviously, they're
Mm.
older and whatever. So I had myself prepared for that, right? I have this feeling where it's like, um, you know, we have finite time, and and I don't know how anyone can just waste it, like, just frivolously. I wake up every morning and feel like, okay, I need to do something today to make an impact. I need to do something today that's going to change something that someone's going to talk about if
Yeah.
this is my last day,
Yeah.
right? And if a day goes over my head where I don't do that, I feel like I've let myself down and almost failed in a way, right?
Mm.
Um, so yeah, so I think about, like, that sense of purpose and that sense of making a difference, and what are we doing with our life? Like, I think about that constantly. Like, that's one of the big things that I obsess over for sure.
And I remember like I heard stories about your mom growing up and hearing about the tragedy. Um, then your brother, seriously,
Yeah,
another tragedy, just devastating. And you talk about your grandparents. I know they were older, but to be honest, more like parents kind
yeah,
of passing away as you got
yeah.
older. So lots and lots of loss. When you think about like you've kind of harnessed that to say like, hey, like I need to appreciate every day here. How did you do that?
Oh man, it took a long time. Um, so after, I mean, I didn't, I have no memory of my mom, so that loss didn't really affect me directly. It wasn't like it was, grieving or any sense of loss or anything because I have no memory. I was too young to remember her. But I've relived through stories and my family and I've seen the loss in them, like I've seen the grief in them over the years, and to the point where it was just really hard to talk about. And my mom's sister, my aunt, she was really close with her and was with her when she passed and stuff. And I remember when I was in college, I was probably, I don't know, 20, 21, I guess, at the time. And so it's like 20 years now after the accident. And I was in college and my aunt and uncle had come to visit me for a few days and we were driving home. I was bringing her home. My uncle had come earlier a couple days before, and so it was just me and her in the car. And I don't think I had ever gone for a drive with my aunt by myself up until that point. And so we've got a couple hours in the car, right? And so we just started talking about everything, and the topic came up about mom, and I remember thinking like, okay, now's my chance. Now's right, and I just asked her everything that I had ever wondered and ever thought about and ever questioned, and she just unloaded. And I guess it was probably the most refreshing thing ever because I had lived with these questions for so long, right? Um, and I think that was instilled in me, like like my with my grandparents. I mean, losing their child so young, they almost instilled that purpose. Like like I grew up thinking, okay, like, make every day count. You know, whether that was subconsciously or I just got that sense of it. But then, I mean, after my brother passed away, I mean, my brother Jamie was only 32 um, when he died, and that, I mean, that literally changed my life. But it's one of those moments in your life that you use it to gauge all the other moments in your life.
Yeah.
And so, like, I found myself like thinking about something that happened. Like, I'll give you an example. A while ago, a few years ago, I guess now, um, my hot water tank gave out,
Mhm.
and so I had to buy a new hot water tank, right? And I found myself wondering. I was like, oh man, like how long have I had that hot water tank? Did I buy that before Jamie died or after?
Mhm.
And it was like, oh my God, like I'm gauging on when I bought a hot water tank based on my brother's brother's passing. Like, it seems so trivial and so frivolous, but like that's how big of an impact it had on my life. Like
Mm.
you 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 judge and you gauge all other events of your life by that event, right?
Yeah.
And and so after he passed away, like I mean, my life, I am a totally different person now than the person I was before he passed away.
Yeah.
100%. Like I have completely changed how I think, how I do things. It completely
Mhm.
changed who I was.
Yeah.
Some would say for the better or for the worse, right? For a lot of different things. Like, I mean, how I think is different. like I said, I take every day probably more seriously now than I did before, right? Whatever it is, man, like do the thing.
Yeah.
Um, go on the trip. Like
Mm.
money, you can make more money.
Yeah.
Spend the money, go on the trip, have the experience, have the memory, have that joy, right? That you
Yeah.
cannot replace. Spend time with people. If someone asks you to do something, say yes. If any way
Mhm.
possible, say yes, right?
Yeah.
Don't be too busy.
Yeah.
Call the person back, right? Like just little stupid things, but like that's how I live my life now. Cause I'm
Yeah.
like, man, like I talked to my brother 3 days before, right? And I had no idea that it was going to be the last
Mhm.
time, the last time is going to be the last time eventually.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so like I completely reinvented, my faith changed.
Yeah.
I went through a huge, like, um, I guess like deconstruction is the
Yeah.
official term. So like how I see faith, and still a big part of my life, but I would say, my outlook and my worldview before
Mhm.
that was completely different than it is now. Because I just went searching because I had to find something that
Yeah.
that gave me that sense of peace and purpose
Yeah.
and stuff. And it was just, yeah, it was weird, man. Like I had a nervous breakdown, essentially, is
Mhm.
what happened. I had a complete nervous breakdown. Like I ran away from home. I did things that I look back on now. It's like, how in the world? Like, what in the world was I doing? Like, why did I do that? And how stupid was I? You'd think back, but I mean, you're just not in a right state of mind.
Yeah.
Um, I had, I came close to taking my own life.
Mhm.
It was a dark time.
Yeah.
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 But that stuff changes you, man. Like when you've had
Yeah.
loss and grief and stuff like that, um, it's crazy because like unless you've been through it, like it's hard to describe and it's hard to fathom. But
Yeah.
like I'll give you an example. One crazy thing that happened, and I haven't told this story very much. After Jamie passed away, I just had this darkness following me everywhere. And I was surrounded by people. Like you know what it's like, man, when someone passes away, like everybody people come out of the woodwork. Like I heard from people that I've never heard from in years, right? And Jamie was a guy that he had a lot of friends and stuff. So like a lot of his friends were reaching out to me,
Mhm.
people that I've never heard of, like, telling me stories and stuff and trying to be encouraging and trying to be, nice and consoling and stuff. But that, all of that was just pissing me off.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't believe. Like it was making me mad.
Mhm.
And despite like being surrounded by people, I had never felt so alone
Yeah.
because like my grandparents, so it was me and my brother and our grandparents for the most part, right? Like that was our core family. And so after our grandparents passed away, it was me and Jamie, right? Like we had each other and like we had all these plans of, what we're going to do. We're going to fix up the house. We had all these plans and stuff. And now like that was gone, right? So I just went into like this really, really dark place and like just crazy, like everywhere I go, like if I went for a drive, like darkness followed me, right? And this loneliness felt followed me. And like if I was walking around the house, like no matter where I went, like if you've ever gone through something like that, the thing is it's like seasickness, right? It's like you can't escape it because no matter where you go, it goes with you, you know? And And I remember a night where I was like, I can't take this anymore. Like I can't do this anymore. And felt like there was only one way out, you know. Um, and so I made a plan, and I decided like, yeah, tonight I'm just gonna end it all. I'm just gonna this is the end, right? Um, and when I was in college, so to go back a while, when I was in college, I started going to this church. And at this church, I started getting involved and stuff, and I started playing drums. Now, I'm not the best drummer in the world. I played drums because there was no one else there to play drums. I used to play drums at this church, and at the end of every service, there was this lady. Her name was Ina Green, and she was about 5 foot nothing, right? Older lady, like, probably in her like 80s. And she reminded me so much of my grandmother, right? Very soft spoken, very meek, very humble. And at the end of one of the services, she came up to me. I was still on the platform, stood up from the drums. And when I look, here's this lady walking towards me. I'm like, what in the world's going on? Why is this lady
Mhm.
walking towards me? And she comes up to me and she says, I just want you to know, she said, I really appreciate your drumming. She said, it's just something about it. She said, you do a fabulous job. And she just piling all these compliments on me, right? And I don't know how to respond to that, but I mean, I just said thank you. But on the inside, like I'm doing somersaults because it's like, oh my goodness, like Nan loves to hear me play drums, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
how amazing is that? And and then like the next Sunday, I mean, she came up and said the same thing, and every single Sunday, it got to the point where like I'd hang around because it's like I'm not going anywhere until Ina comes and tells me I does a good job. Like I need that now. Like I mean,
Yeah.
this I'm living for it, right? So, anyways, I graduate college and I leave there, and I leave the church, and I don't go back, right?
Yeah.
So then my brother passes away. Fast forward now 9 years. My brother passes away, and I'm going through this darkness and this
Mhm.
loneliness and this feeling that nobody cares, and surrounded by people, but yet nobody actually cares. Even though everyone's telling me how much they care, they're all lying. Nobody cares.
Mhm.
And it got to the point where I would lock my door because I didn't want people coming to my house anymore. And we had a landline at the time. That's how long ago this was. And I unplugged the landline so that no one would call anymore because the sound of the phone ringing was so triggering. And I made this plan, and I said, you know what, I can't take this anymore. I can't take this darkness anymore.
Yeah.
I need to get out of it, and I need to end all of this. And there's only one way to end it. And so I made the plan. When everyone goes to sleep tonight, I'm just gonna go away. And I was standing in my hallway. I was standing in the hallway, and the phone rings, and I lose it because that's a trigger for me. The phone ringing, and I scream, "Who plugged the phone in?" And you know, someone answers it, and they hold the phone receiver out, and they say it's for you. And I said, I'm not talking to anyone. And they said, I don't know who this is. You need to talk to him. And I said, I'm not talking to anyone. And they grabbed my hand and put the receiver in my hand and put the receiver up to my ear. And I said, hello, in like the harshest tone I could think of, right? I wanted them to know I was mad that they had called, right? And I said, hello. And this voice on the other end says, Rudy, it's Ina Green calling. I heard
Wow.
about your brother and I had to call you. And Rudy, man, like I collapsed. Like there was a chair next to me. I collapsed in the chair. This was like 9 years
Yeah.
after I had left that church. And all I could get out, like all I could say to her was, how did you find me?
Mhm.
How did you find me? And like in that moment, like everything felt okay. Like everything went
Yeah.
away. that darkness that I had, like, it was just, wow, like
Yeah.
somebody cares.
Yeah.
Somebody cares. And I think, like, for a lot of guys, like, that's all they need is
Yeah.
like the feeling that, like, man, like this person genuinely cares. You know, like a lot of people say that they care, like,
Mm.
if you lose a loved one or something happens in your life and people reach out, hey, man, sorry to hear about this, or hey, sorry you're going through this, or whatever, which, is fine. But like you can tell who's genuine. You can
Yeah.
tell who the genuine people are. And that like that genuineness is what makes all the difference. And
Yeah.
yeah, and in that moment, man, like I knew that she she was reaching out because she actually cared, right?
Yeah.
I mean, 9 years went by, 9 years, and she had to find my number. Like, how in the
You have to
world?
put some effort into that,
She
right?
yeah, that's exactly it, right? Like she put effort into this, right? She heard this story that, hey, remember that guy that used to play drums 9 years ago, right? That you really appreciated, and his brother passed away, and she was like, I gotta reach out to him. You know, that's a big factor, man. Like you talk about isolation and people and guys like, feeling isolated and alone. Yeah, I was there, right? But one old lady making the effort,
Yeah.
it
It'll make the
made right.
difference.
It
Yeah.
made the difference, and it might be your best buddy. It might be for me. It was Ina Green.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, like that changed a lot of stuff for me. Like that got me out of a rut that I was
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
I find it interesting because when we think about isolation, we think about these men spending lots of time alone. Men can feel isolated when there's people around them. Like I know I feel like this. No one really genuinely cares. You talked about some significant loss there, and I think lots of men go through loss, losing a job, losing a parent, losing someone significant in their lives. After that conversation with that lady, what led you out of that darkness back to living out your purpose?
From there, man, it was like it wasn't easy. Like I would love to say, hey, this was a light switch that got turned on, and all of a sudden the darkness wasn't there anymore. And life was just great after that, right? It wasn't, not by any means. There were still lots of dark moments, and there were still lots of times where you question why, and you question, how am I going to get through this? But I think it was a decision. Like I think for me, it was like, okay, I can get through this, right? But anyways, one of the things my Uncle George always said was, one of these days you'll look back at this as something you did and wonder how you did it.
Yeah.
And I live by that. Like I can tell you that in so many instances, so many places in my life, right? Where, man, like how did I get through that? You know?
Yeah.
And if that's a lesson, or if that's something for anyone listening to this right now, it's like you will get through it.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it now, right? Like you think about the darkest times in your life, right? The the things that you're like, man, like this is bad. Like this is a bad one, right?
Yeah.
But you look back on it now and you like, I got through it. I don't know
Yeah.
how I did it, but I got through it, right?
Yeah.
And that's me, like with the loss of my brother, loss of all the loss I've experienced, all the other things that have happened, that I just like, wow, like how did I get through that? But
Yeah.
but we did, right? And
Yep.
it doesn't feel like it at the time, you know.
Yeah.
Like that's the kicker. It's like, oh no way. I have family members, man, that were homeless, right?
Yeah.
Went through like divorces and lost everything, right? And were homeless and stuff and like how in the world were you gonna get through it at the time? Like you
Mm.
think there's no way I'm surviving this. But
Yeah.
but they're thriving today. Like they're doing better
Yeah.
now than they've ever done before. They
Yeah.
got through it, right?
Yeah.
And no matter what someone is going through, you're gonna get through it,
Yeah.
right? You just gotta survive.
Yeah.
Basically hold on to whatever you can and just, let it pass over you kind of thing. So yeah, it's
Yeah. I'm reminded of like this too shall pass, something I remind myself
right.
of constantly. I think in grief, I would say like it doesn't pass. It gets a little different as time goes on.
Yeah.
Um, but I've
Yeah.
also learned like grief is different depending on the relationship you have with the person. Like grief is different from my dad than it
Yeah.
is your brother.
Yeah.
Um, and I think like there's obviously a great deal of heaviness in that. Our biggest struggles, our darkest struggles, there is wisdom that often comes from it. And you just shared some of those wisdoms. Like you will get through it. You will come out the other side. It might not feel it in that moment, but you will. You mentioned suicide in other conversations and in coaching. Like this comes up quite often for men. If you look at the statistics, I think it's 74% of suicides are men. And I think that that's something to pay attention to because we're not often reaching out before we get to that point, or no one's checking in. We don't have that lady that you mentioned that's going to be checking in and having those genuine connections. And when you think about that struggle that you've had, that maybe that dark place, if it had a wisdom to offer, what would be that wisdom?
That's a good question. Because I think we should learn from everything that we go through. And I think it's just that if I can survive that, I can survive anything. Um, like if I feel like now that whenever anything comes my way now, it's like, man, if I can get through Jamie passing away, then I can get through anything. I can face anything. If I survive that, then this is nothing. It's like, oh man, like that's so trivial. I survived like my brother passed away, my only brother. Like I survived my brother passing away. I survived, like being raised by my grandparents. Like Nan was 66 and Pop was 68 when they took us. Like Pop was 82 years old when I moved out of his house to go to college. Right? Like they survived that,
Yeah,
man. Like and it's unfortunate because not everybody does survive, like you said, and that's tragic. Like
yeah,
that's so sad, and we need to do more to help with that. Like we said earlier, like waking up every morning and putting someone else priority over ourselves. That's where it comes to. That's where like you hear someone experiencing loss, like reach out in a genuine way.
yeah.
Go out of your way. Um,
Yeah, I think I even say that, like, anyone that's listening, like, even as you said that, like, reach out, be weird, like, I can feel it in my body, like, feel the emotions to say, like, "Man, reach out." Reaching out to that person was just as much for you as it was for them. I feel that in these conversations, it's for me, like, it's life-giving. I think we're met for connection, we're met to have these conversations with each other. For some reason we tend to move away from them when
yeah.
we need to lean in a bit.
Yeah, and we're creatures of we're like I said, we're our own worst enemies, right? Because like we've been made to feel awkward in these things. Like somewhere along the way, we were told that this was taboo, right? When it comes to reaching out, same thing, right? Like we don't want to feel
Yeah,
judged. Like, what's he
yeah,
gonna think? What's he gonna think if I call him? What's he gonna think if I message him, right? You know.
Yeah, it's like it's very little spaces in my life that I feel like I'm not performing.
Yeah.
Like it's some level, like at work, I need to be this person. At with my kids, I need to be this person. Like
Yeah.
I think Candace is a very safe place for me. But to be honest, like I'm supposed to take care of my wife. I'm supposed to
Right.
protect my wife, provide for my wife.
Yeah.
Um, and I've realized as I've gotten a bit older that man, there's very few spaces that I'm not performing and I'm not
Right.
being let the guard down and just be.
Yeah, and that's intrinsic, man. Like I think I relate to that so much. So much. And yeah, like when can you let your guard down? I'm lucky enough to have a couple of friends. I've got one friend, we talk every day. Like every day. And sometimes it's like talking about nothing, right? Like, how's the weather? What do you think of the Jays? They suck. Yeah, I know. Uh, like what we're gonna do about the Leafs this year? Like,
Yeah,
like that's one thing we talk about. But other times, like we get really deep. Like we just like, man, listen, I'm not doing good today. Like I'm struggling today, right? Um, and it's just that, sometimes we can just unload, right? We share that in those struggles, and sometimes it's not even like a lot of advice, right? This is a
yeah,
shitty day, right? I'm
yeah,
not feeling good today. And and he'll do the same thing with me. Or he called me like yesterday and just unloaded on some stuff that's going on in his life. And I was like, wow, like that's heavy. Like that's heavy stuff,
yeah,
man. Like I don't know what to say to you. I
yeah,
I just don't. But like I'm here if you need anything,
yeah,
And he was
yeah.
like, no, it just feels good to get it out because he said I can't talk to anyone. And you probably like, I don't know if you're in this boat, but I am. Maybe we can edit this part out, but like there's stuff I'm not telling my wife.
Without doubt. Yeah, yeah. I think that's 100%. That's one of the reasons I started my men's group is like, man, fuck, I need someone to tell these things too.
Right. Right. It's like, like every now and then something would come up and Tash would be like, why didn't you tell me this? And I was like, why do you think I didn't tell you this? You gotta have that safe space. And you gotta have that vent place. Like you gotta have that, right? We bottle so much stuff up, right? And we have that tough exterior that, no, everything's good, everything's fine.
Um, One of the things I admire about you, Rudy, is that you always had a sense of purpose. And the piece that, like, you've been through it, man. Like, right? I know your mother died when you were young, but like, I'm convinced the body knows it's in you. Like, you went through some level of grief that's probably just not explainable. You lost your brother, like, some hard things you had to go through in your life. And man, like I look at you and I know we all have days, but you're living your purpose. Like you're in it. You talk about taking care of people. Like you're the mayor of our hometown. You're helping all these other small communities or other communities kind of grow and develop based on some of your experience. So it's clear that you're living a sense of purpose. And I wonder as we close our conversation, after bending through all of that shit, that darkness, sense of like hopelessness, I'm sure, how how did you continue to get to a place of living in purpose and having motivation to live in purpose?
Yeah, it- I'll go back to something you mentioned because my mother's passing did affect me because my doctor tells me that that's where my OCD came from. He said, the OCD comes mostly, he said, through trauma, especially trauma at a young age. And he said, even though he said you don't remember it, he said you did experience trauma. And so I think that probably changed me in like mentally in a lot of different ways that I didn't realize. And that And being raised by my grandparents was another big factor of it. Like they instilled the hard work. My grandmother especially had that care for people that I share. Like my grandmother, every morning when I went to school, she gave me like a talk that um, very very biblical, to be honest with you, if you look at it. But it wasn't biblical, like it wasn't preachy. Like she would always say, if someone says something to you, don't say anything back to them. Just walk away, right? Don't instigate anything. Which is like, turn the other cheek, right?
Yeah.
Kind of stuff. And Nan always had that sense of, if you see someone that's hurting, make sure you're the one that helps them. And if you see someone being left out, make sure you include them. You know, care about other people more than you care about yourself. Like that was her philosophy. That's what she instilled in me from, as long as I can remember. And um, and I need to focus on living for that bigger purpose. And part of that is being more concerned about other people than I am myself, because I think that's the basis of the entire of the entire book. Like if you had to summarize the whole thing in a sentence, it's like be more concerned about other people than you are yourself. And so yeah, so I just live for that, man. Like that's
Yeah.
where I put my focus and put my drive. And whether it's right or wrong, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll find out. But I do know that, like, if something happens tomorrow and I'm not here anymore, I I hope that that's what they'll say,
Yeah.
is
Mm.
that, well, he made an impact on other people. He didn't spend much time trying to further his own self, but he tried to further other people.
I
Yeah.
like this. C.S. Lewis talks about this idea of humility. I think it's in the book Mere Christianity, but he talks about like humility is not necessarily saying you're nothing. It's the idea of like just understanding yourself, understanding the gifts that you have and who you are, and do it to the world to take care of the world and stop thinking about yourself. Stop
Yeah.
obsessing whether I'm good at this, not good at this, should I do this, should I not do this. She's like, stop thinking about yourself and offer that service to other
Right.
people, which I think is yeah, is a beautiful way of looking at
I love that.
humility.
I love that. Like we all have different things, right? Like we're all
Yeah.
good at other things, like different
Yeah.
things. And like find that thing, man. Like you're so good. Like you've always been a gifted leader. Like you've always been able to gather people around. Like whether, I mean, we were kids, like getting together for a softball game. It's like you were always the guy that was like, come on, boys, like we're going up, we're playing softball 3 o'clock Saturday, right? Okay, Rudy says we're going 3 o'clock Saturday, so we're going 3 o'clock Saturday. Like you were always that guy that like you could rally people around, and that's why like I'm not shocked now. Like you're doing so well with like coaching and
Mm.
leadership and stuff, and because
Yeah.
that's your natural gift, right? And so let's utilize that. Let's find what we can do well, right? Because we all do something well, whatever it is, right? Whatever it is, whatever you're passionate about, like whatever you're just, find naturally easy to do, you know.
Mm. Yeah.
Like I can get up and like guys at work, they say, man, like how can you get up and give like an hour long presentation with no notes in front of you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm more comfortable in front of 500 people than I am five
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Like that's just how I'm built, right?
Yeah.
And so, like let's just find what we can do well and do it
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
give back to society and better society. And if we all did that, right? Like if we all just contributed what we could, like imagine how further ahead we'd be, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's more egotistical to not use that gift, to be
Right.
concerned what other people are thinking about you. As we close out the conversation, Rudy, what's one piece of advice that you would pass on to other men?
Man, what have I not said? um, just live your best life, man. Like, like, you know, don't get caught up in the weeds. Like, don't get caught up in the little things. Like, don't, don't, don't base your life on things that aren't important. Like, just keep moving forward, make a difference, make an impact in someone else's life. And no matter what you're going through, you're gonna get through it. And you're gonna look back and say, "Man, I did that. I made it, and this is what I learned from it."
Incredible, Rudy. I thank you truly from the bottom of my heart for your vulnerability, for your wisdom. And anyone that's listening or watching, remember that you don't have to go through this alone. We've all been in the struggle. If you're in the struggle, that means there's probably other men in the struggle as well. Reach out to a friend for support. Reach out to a friend that you feel needs support. And if you need a community, head over to our channel, follow along. And I hope to hear from you. And if you're a man that wants to be a part of the conversation, you've done the work on yourself and you want to join, please reach out. Rudy, thank you. Let's not end the conversation here. Let's continue on. It's been great hanging out with you.
This is phenomenal, man. I'm so appreciative of what you're doing here. I think it's great, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
Awesome. Take care, man.
You too, man.